Hey InSTEM fam, welcome back to another episode of InSTEM. Today, buckle up because I'm not just joined by one incredible guest. I've got with me two amazing role models in the engineering space. They are the current winners of the Young Woman Engineer Award and the Women Engineering Society Prize Award. Help me to welcome Titi Oliyide and Zainab Adigun to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
These ladies represent shining examples, amazing role models, making great impact. And today we are going to be diving into their amazing engineering career journeys, the impacts they're making within the engineering sector and even beyond the engineering sector. And get this, they're going to be dishing out some practical tips on how you can position yourself for success. Get ready to be inspired. Hey again, ladies.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Good, yeah.
I'm excited because this is like a new set for me, and it's the first time I've been joined with two guests, so it's pretty cool to have you.
Thank you for having us.
So as you know, the tradition is we kick off InSTEM interviews with icebreaker questions, just to loosen you up a bit and just ease you into the interview. So obviously there are two of you, so I feel like I need to set some rules as to how you answer the questions. It's not fair for the same person to answer first. So I say we alternate, right?
Yeah,
so Zainab, you start, and then Titi, and we do it that way. Okay, so icebreaker question, Zainab. If you weren't an engineer, what would your dream career be and why?
Oh, that's a really difficult. Cool. I don't know. It changes all the time. Something that can make me a lot of money.
I like that.
Okay. I don't know, something maybe. I don't like stress. Oh God.
And you were in an engineering. No, guys. Engineering. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh God, that's actually quite tricky. The first, what I actually wanted to be when I was younger was an accountant. So I'll stick with that.
Accountant, cool. Yeah, it's all about the money. Titi, what about you?
Do you know what? I wanted to be a broadcaster as well, which is really interesting because when I was growing up, I always used to read the newspapers to my grandpa. And I used to just talk a lot as well. So if I wasn't doing engineering, I'll probably be doing something with the media space.
I feel like you're doing that actually, but we'll talk a bit more about that later as a result of your platform, of course. Awesome. I'm looking at you now, Titi. You're a chartered chemical engineer. You've worked across various industries, so oil and gas, health and safety expert as well. You've also worked in the railway industry and currently in the renewable industry. Actually, you have been on this platform before, so I've showcased your career. But given your extensive experience across so many different sectors, what valuable lessons have you learned across the way?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me, what I've learned is how to transfer my skills and how to break things down into the basic things and see, what have I learned and how can I transfer this across those industries. It's really interesting because engineering, there's so many different types of engineering. Every time I meet an engineer, I'm always interested to know what they do because no two people do the same. Even as a safety engineer, if you talk to different engineers doing safety in different industries, you hear about different things. So I think that just being able to transfer those skills and also collaborate is really important. So that's what I'll say is a value that I've learned so far.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And Zainab, you're a structural engineer and you have mainly forged your career within the construction industry, which sounds really exciting. And as we know, construction plays a crucial role in the society we live in and also even shapes, the world that we live in. So given your extensive experience in this industry, what advice would you give to aspiring female engineers wanting to forge and carve their career in the construction sector?
Construction sector is quite a large sector in general, so you could be in that space but not actually be a structural engineer. Well, obviously structural engineers, they design and design buildings as well as bridges. So I think it's very important to understand what is your real passion before you actually delve and say you want to go into the construction space. Like, what do you really enjoy doing? And then match that to what your job role will be, or where your career is going to go.
I love that perspective. I've always been a proponent of doing something that you enjoy and you're passionate about. But if you're not, sure and you haven't recognized, I feel like you'll just get swept in the current of you know, this sort of 9 to 5 and, you know, just the world of work in general. So that's a really good perspective. So rewinding back to 2023, which we know, and I'm sure most people watching know, was a huge year for the two of you. Firstly, congratulations. You know, as I mentioned in the intro, you both won 2 of the most prestigious engineering awards in the country. Titi, you're the Young Woman Engineer, you know, winner, and Zainab, you are the Women Engineering Society Prize Award winner, which is, it's just amazing. So I would like you to describe, Titi, you know, go back to you, what the experience was like for you.
Okay, so on the day it was shock. It was definitely shock, but over the course of the process, it was quite interesting, and you know, it was like, oh wow, I'm getting through, because it's a 3-step process, I would say, and throughout the process it was like, oh right, okay, I could actually, you know, win this. I'm, you know, somewhere I'm closer to the finish line, as you would say. But yeah, it was a good and, you know, humbling process as well, to be named amongst, you know, both amazing engineers that were finalists and winners as well. And in addition to that, like, people that have won it over the years are simply amazing. So to be named as one of those, like, right, okay, humbling, really. Yeah.
And I'd like to read this quote that the IET, so the institution that recognised you both, said about you, Titi. They said her dynamism, problem-solving skills, teamwork, and outstanding achievements make her a true role model in engineering. How does that make you feel?
It makes you feel like, wow, are they talking about me? But no, definitely it's good. I think sometimes you need to, when you're doing things as part of your day-to-day, you don't see how far you've grown, or you don't see how much you've developed over the years, and so sometimes you need to step outside of yourself, or as you say, you know, get someone else to sort of tell you these things, to be able to say, oh right, okay, yes, I definitely did this. So yeah, it's been really, really great.
I definitely echo that comment, and I think it's consistent with your second answer when you talked about versatility and transferring, you know, skills. I think that's what being dynamic is, and that's what they've captured in their comments. Zainab, about you, the IET said Zainab's impactful work in attracting young talent into engineering while tackling issues faced by women in this field is truly remarkable. That is a huge statement, and as someone who's observed you, not that I was stalking you, but I just come across your work over the years, I could not agree more. I think you've got this vibrancy and passion about the next generation. So tell me what that moment meant for you.
I think, it was definitely very rewarding, I would say, and still quite surprising as well, because like Titi said, there was a huge caliber of women, and you know, to be chosen as one of them. And what's crazy actually is the year before I had applied, but I didn't even get shortlisted. Wow. I didn't even get I don't know what happened. It was either my application was really, really bad, or I don't know. But I also believe in God's timing as well.
Absolutely.
So it was crazy to see where you didn't even get past the first stage, and then you're actually getting called on stage. It was really, really crazy. But again, I just want to say the fact that Titi is Young Woman Engineer of the Year, it really does show the success that she's had in her career, and to be honest, you really, really do deserve it.
Yeah,
I think, I agree, and I think you both deserve
Honestly,
it. And I love your transparency as well, and I think sometimes people don't see the hard work that's gone behind or what's underneath the surface. So some may have thought that perhaps last year was your first attempt, but you just said you had actually gone for it the year before, but it didn't work out. But I love your resilience and determination to go for it again, and look what happened, you won. So for anyone who may have tried something, the first time and it didn't work out, I think this is the inspiration you need to just go for it again, and definitely it'll work out. Excellent. So I want to speak to people. As we know, these award ceremonies, within the engineering space does require some responsibility from your part, in terms of there is an application process to it, right? So people can come and, senior people in the industry can say, I'm vouching for you, I'm nominating you, but ultimately sometimes what happens is you need to actually put some work in by applying. So for anyone who might be in that, space, people within their network have told them, I think you should go for this, I think you embody, what these awards represent. How would you, what advice would you give them towards crafting an outstanding awards application? So yeah, we're flipping back to Titi for this one to start.
Okay. So I'll definitely say, understanding the requirements is very important. So for the IET Awards, for example, it's not just it's a balance of both your technical experience and what you do as well to improve diversity and inclusion within the engineering space. So for example, Zainab is like really amazing with getting the next generation into doing amazing work, getting the next generation into engineering, and I'm sure she'll talk about that later on as well. But that's something that you need to show in addition to what you actually do at work. And yeah, it's also funny that for me as well, I actually went through the process for 3 years.
Wow.
So basically, the first time I didn't get through as well, and then the second time I got into the I got through to the interview stage, but I didn't get to the finals. And for me, that was the lesson I took from that, because I literally didn't understand the requirements of what was needed, or I didn't take time to actually understand what was needed, and I kind of showcased one part rather than the other. So I think it's really important to understand and craft it accordingly, so that you give yourself the best chance of success. I think it's also important to be, as you said, versatility and well-rounded. And, it's not just, I'm not saying to be authentic as well, right? Because you're not trying to fit yourself into a mold. You're just trying to show that because you're passionate about these things, this is a platform that you want to then get on to, have more influence or, be able to reach more people, basically. So I think that's really important to showcase.
So many takeaways from that answer. So again, another example of determination and resilience. 3 years in a row and you got it. Like this, I think that's the emanating theme from the conversation so far. So I think there's a lot for people to take away from resilience and determination there. And I'm getting inspired actually. Also, I think I love what you said. Ultimately, it's about service. It's not just yes, I'm the award winner. It's all about actually, this is a platform for me to then, advance and to elevate my voice into X, Y issues that are relevant that you want to make a difference in. So I think when you have that perspective, ultimately it will shine through in the examples and, the interactions that you have with the awarding body. In terms of, so I love that, knowing the requirements and just having an understanding that it's not really about you, it's about actually using it to further the impact that you want to make. I wondered, were there any specific projects that you showcased? So in terms of showcasing the work that you do as well, do you have any examples that you can share?
Yeah, so a few examples actually, because I made mention of quite a few in my application. So one of the things was, we had this, it started off in the year of engineering, which was in 2018, and in the company I was working for then, we sort of put together a sort of engineering day for students around the company in the local area of the company to sort of come through and learn more about what we did. So part of my work then was to sort of put together projects that would show everyone, or an activity rather, that would show everyone what we did throughout the different things that engineers did. And it was actually interesting because then people would see the things that engineers did, and even though most of the takeaways were for the students was that they wanted to be project managers, but engineers can also be project managers anyway. But yeah, it was quite interesting. So that's one of the things. Also with the AFB, I do help companies as well understand better their diversity and inclusion journey. So being an account manager for for companies is one thing I do with the AFB as well. And of course the conference, which I am very much involved in, and that involves creating a day for people to network, get jobs, learn about different things. And I think that's really just a great, and also have fun actually. I think that's a great way to just bring people together in the engineering industry and give them a community. So I think those are the sort of projects that I was able to showcase, in addition to the technical work that I've done and the impact of those as well within the engineering industry. That's what helped too.
Excellent. And for those who don't know, AFB is a non-for-profit social enterprise that helps advance opportunities for Black and ethnic minority engineers. So it's clear that it goes beyond even your 9 to 5. There's a real impact that you are making within the engineering space inspiring the next generation. So I think that's something for people to take away. Often, I'm assuming the judges are looking at all of these sort of reverberating impacts within your work, but also outside of your 9 to 5. Absolutely. So Zainab, I'm going to come to you and say, you know, what advice, what tips do you have for people who might be considering, you know, I think the awards are going to be, are they open or they're already open? Yeah, so there might be people actually like already like drafting their applications. What would you say to them?
Definitely what Titi said. So I think one of the things I noticed for my first application was, I think apart from the fact that it possibly was late by a minute or so, just because I had to put the boys to bed, I left it really last minute, so that didn't help me either. And I also didn't have a chance to get someone else to proofread it for me and actually, make sure it made sense. I rushed it, so I think that also attributed to it. But also another thing I noticed was my focus was more on my outreach stuff because I felt like, I don't know, it was just, I could speak about it a lot more. Like I've done, you know, so I run a schools program for ASPE, so I spoke about that and all those kind of stuff. But then my technical aspects, that's very, very important to the IET. Yes. Like they really, what is exactly are you doing? What are you doing that's actually impacting the industry? What is it exactly, and how are you in terms of when you work in a team? How do you deal with your deadlines? Even during the interview process, that was the main focus. They just wanted to know how I was in the space of work. So in all your applications, and actually I was reviewing a person's application for this year, I said your technical excellence really has to come through, or otherwise you don't stand a chance. So,
that's another great perspective, because it's all about being well-rounded. Exactly. So you can't be like too focused on one area. So helping in society and help, like that's great, but actually also within the confines of your work, what do you do? What are you doing? What have you delivered to actually move the industry forward as well? So that's really good. And of course, don't leave it till last minute. I like the point about proofreading as well, because I think it kind of extends beyond awards applications. I think again, guys, a lot of these principles we can translate into even job applications and just anything that requires application. I think that's really good. We can find trusted people to, you know, proofread. So you did that the second time? I did that the second time. How did you go about finding that? Like, I think that might be also a lesson from someone like networking, I'm assuming, but like tell us a bit more practically, like how you found the right people to proofread for you.
No, sure. So my current manager at my current role is he's a pedant for like grammar and all of that kind of stuff. So I had two people that had essentially sponsored my application, my project, my line manager as well as our building director. So he wrote my statement for the actual IET to support it, but I knew I needed to go to him. So you have to work out first of all, who has enough time, give them enough time, and who will be honest enough with you to be able to basically put a red mark through and say, you need to do this. And then also, at the same time, you don't have to take on every single thing that they say. You have to sort of digest and think, what are you trying to say? Is it worth taking on, or should you just sort of leave that bit? So, yeah, finding someone that really understands what you're trying to do and giving them enough time.
That's really good. I think that's helpful.
Yeah, I think it's really important. What you said, I can definitely echo it in terms of the technical excellence, because that was the same thing I did. I thought, you know, I'm sure they know I'm an engineer, so let me just, you know, showcase what I'm doing. I saw the STEM work and the STEM work I did as an addition that, you know, would stand me out. But at the same time, it's, as you said, it's really, really important to show that you have that technical excellence, so that you're not just the show horse, you know, that's just kind of showing that, yes, engineering is cool, but when they then get into the, you know, into the actual nitty-gritty of it, you can't tell us what actual engineering you're doing. So yeah, it's so important to the IET. And I think even for your own, for your own understanding of what you are as an engineer as well, I think it's really important. Yeah.
That's great. And the thing is, like, you both have that, you know, you're both working in like really important industries. You've worked across several, so, you know, definitely good to lean more into that side.
I'm actually switching industries at the moment. I'm leaning towards like sort of energies and
exciting. Any reason for that?
I think I just wanted a change, and also what you said about transferable skills is so important. So my role is still structural engineering, but just moving into a different space, and also looking at what is current in the industry. Where are you going to be making the most impact? My job, I feel like I wasn't making more impact in terms of global warming. but this job role.
Oh, that's
so,
excellent.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love
I
that.
didn't know. No, I didn't know.
I'm definitely an advocate
Yeah.
of, you know, like moving around and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
widening your skill set.
Yeah.
I think it's so beneficial.
Mhm.
So, I'm sure these awards have opened amazing doors and opportunities for you, changed the trajectory of your career as well. So I kind of wanted you guys to give us some examples and flavour of, you know, some of the experiences you've had since last year. Titi, do you want to kick us off?
Okay, so I think for me the biggest thing that has changed is because I'm gonna put my hand up now. I'm that kind of person that always like sometimes just looks at people's LinkedIn and like, oh, this is an interesting career. So I tend to know a bit more about people than they know about me, right? And so now what has changed is now I see people and I introduce myself and they're like, oh, they know me. I'm like, right.
You're a celebrity.
Yeah,
You
so
are
I
a
feel
celebrity.
like, okay, so that has been interesting, but also, you know, very humbling as well. I'll definitely say, you know, having that, for me as well, having that, getting these achievements has been an opportunity for me to have things to look back on when I do feel some sort of imposter syndrome. Because sometimes I feel that, you know, you might feel like, oh, you know, maybe I'm not doing as much as I should do, or maybe why don't I know this thing, that sort of thing. But then, and then you can get into a bit of a spiral, you know, everyone has that at different stages of their careers, right? But yeah, so if I get too deep into that spiral, I'm like, oh yeah, you did that last year. So, you know, that kind of thing.
You
so
did that.
yeah, exactly. So it's been, you know, really good it's been a good way to sort of say, okay, this is an achievement and it's not just like, it's something by a recognized body. So for me, that's been really good. Yeah.
I love that. It's that evidence against imposter syndrome,
Yes.
isn't it? It's like if out of several hundreds people who are also amazing,
Yes.
who went for this, you know,
Yeah.
the judges saw it that you were the person that, you know, deserved that recognition. I think that's a great way to counteract any doubt or any imposter syndrome you may face. So I think that's a really good way to look at it. And of course, like the fact that it kind of elevates you into a celebrity status as well. What about you, Zainab?
How's it changed? Definitely, it's broadened my sort of network. Yeah, people that probably never heard of me before now just reach out to me. So yeah, no, it's definitely broadened my network. I'm hosting one of the awards. This is something that I never thought I'll do. Later in I think end of December. So yeah, it's definitely broadened my horizons. But I think I have to be really honest here and say, to be honest, in terms of trajectory in my career, it was AFBE that did it for me. I remember, so just as I joined AFBE, I think I was just coming off mat leave, and so when I returned to mat leave, when I returned to my work, they said, my director at the time said, wow, like something's really changed in you, like, and he said maybe it's because I've had children, but then after I had my kids, then these different opportunities started coming, and without the AFBE, I think I wouldn't be where I am today, basically. So I think that's so important to note, because aside from winning YWE Wes, I also do many other things outside of that as well. So yeah, no, it's been really good. So it's been a really nice addition, and I think it's come at a really, really nice time. And to be honest, just on imposter syndrome, I still can't believe that I'm actually a YWE Wes winner. Like it's so surreal. As much as I do whatever I do, but I don't do it for, you know, like, do you plan these, or I'm going to go for this award and this award and this award, just purely for the passion. And that's why I always say to people, passion really pays. Like, my love for what I do has then elevated me into these kind of spaces, and you know, getting to be a guest on your podcast. You know what I mean? So, and to be in a space where people actually look at you and say, oh wow, you're really inspiring, and you know, the next generation is crazy. But in all things, definitely thankful to God and AFBE.
Oh, that's amazing. I think that's actually given me something to reflect on in terms of, you know, I phrased the question as, you know, what has the award done to shape your trajectory? But you've really said, it goes back to the impact. Yes. The award is a recognition at the end of this. So it goes back to essentially what got you to the award, which is AFBE. And I think that's such a strong takeaway point from that. It was that passion, you know, that you sought to foster, and you found an organisation in the form of AFB to do that, and that's essentially what's been the differentiator. And yeah, the awards is a bonus at the end of the day. Though a huge recognition, not downplaying it, but it goes back to the impact, isn't it?
I think speaking of impact as well, it's very interesting how you don't know who, like, impact is, like you can measure impact by, you know, I've spoken to 100 people, right? But sometimes even if it's just one person that you've been able to connect really, really well with, change their life forever, you know, it's also very valuable. So I've seen a lot of people. So for me, for example, because I moved to the UK basically in my 20s, moved for school, and then, you know, had a career in the UK, right? I've seen quite a few people that reach out to me and hear my story and maybe talk to me afterwards when I go for talks and things like that. They reach out to me because they see themselves in the struggles that I've had as well. So I have people that will say, oh my goodness, I moved here for a master's degree, I haven't found a job yet. You know, how I listened to you say you applied for hundreds of jobs before you got a job. Do you know what I mean? I can relate to their struggles. And for me, it's like, oh right, okay, there are not that many people that they can see that have gone through that. So I can serve this, you know, specific set of people. So for me, that's also quite humbling and speaks to, okay, I have that impact. But sometimes when you look at everyone else, you know, everyone's doing really, really great work. It's really inspiring as well. You might think, oh, what do I have to contribute? But yeah, for me, noticing that has been really humbling as well.
I think that's such a solid point. I think often we try to get caught up in the way other people make impact and think that we must make impacts that way in order for it to count or be successful. But you're saying, you know, even just by people being able to see a possibility in you coming from Nigeria to this country to forge a successful career, just them knowing that is impactful. Do you know what I mean? Like, we should own it. I really like that.
I'm sorry, I just want to say also one thing about impact, to what Titi was talking about, is yesterday I was talking to one of the teachers that we work with, and she was telling me that one of the students had come to our event. I think she got a placement in engineering, probably for a week, and after that she's gone on to college to then study engineering. That makes me so happy. Just that one person, we come across so many students across different events, but to be able to make that impact with that one child, that's essentially all I stand for. And you know, to hear that kind of success story really, really makes me happy. So like you said, it doesn't matter how many people you impact, even if it's just one, it's so powerful.
And I totally agree, and I don't even believe that it ever stops with that person. I see impact as a chain reaction. You know, one person becomes one family becomes a lineage, you know, and then so on and so forth. So it doesn't usually stop with that person, you know, most times. So yeah, if you feel like it's two people that have ever, you know, fed back to you to say, you know, you've touched me, you've made a real impact in my life, you know, own it, because those two people will hopefully, you know, translate that to other people, and it then becomes a chain reaction that you've catalyzed. Awesome. So you both have platforms now as, you know, recognized role models in the engineering space. I wanted to ask, you know, what specific change would you like to use your platform to address? It might be something that you're already doing or something new that you're thinking of doing.
I think it's always definitely, you can be an engineer, and engineers aren't a specific way. They don't look like in a specific way.
I mean, check out the stylish ladies, guys.
You know, you're not rigid. Like you like to have fun, you like to party. So I think that's the aspect I want to show, like the fun side of things. And actually, you know, engineering is your career, but it also can propel you into so many different things. Like, so for instance, I'm going to France on Wednesday. I'm doing a shoot for National Geographic Channel. Again, although that came through AFBE, that was coupled with my sort of technical knowledge for engineering. So it's like, you don't have to be in a box. So you don't have to just do that 9 to 5. There's so many other things outside of your career. So definitely, that's the sort of change I wanna sort of bring to the table. And I love the way System do it. They make engineering look so cool. Like the way they sort of marry up the different things that was happening in society with engineering. The way they do that process is so beautiful. So that's the kind of sort of stuff I wanna do as well.
I love that. I'm all about breaking those nonsense, stereotypical images, right? I love that. That's awesome. Titi, what about you?
Yeah, I'll definitely echo what Zainab has said, because I think it's just important for people to see that engineers are not a certain type of way, and also, you know, creating that community or that opportunity for people to see what's possible. I think sometimes people, and I've definitely had this as well, you might not see something, you might not think that something is possible until you see someone else doing things like that. Hence why I like to look at people. I like to hear people's career journeys, and maybe stalk their LinkedIn sometimes just to see how, you know, people make their careers work for them. So I think having that community, or being that listening ear for people, being able to give people you know, that outside in look at their careers and give them opportunities, or give them tips or advice on what else they could do. I think for me that's what I would like to use my platform for as well.
Wow, we are very lucky to have you both in this space. No, really excellent answers. As we move on to the last question, I can't believe this interview has gone so swiftly. I just want to leave like a final sort of food for thought for the viewers. And you've both obviously achieved incredible things professionally and personally. But is there one secret weapon, a consistent habit that you practice and apply to your career that you believe has significantly elevated your success?
So for me, I'll definitely say it's being curious about things. I like to try out new things. I like to feel the fear and do it anyway. So I think, you know, having that, and that has given me a breadth of experience. I think, and that's really stood me in good stead. Apart from the awards, but also just generally in life, I believe it's helped my confidence as well, because I'm like, yeah, I did that. It didn't work out, you know, but I didn't die, so I'm still alive, so, you know, thank God. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you just feel like, I think that for me has been the thread. Like, I try out a lot of things, and, you know, I learn from it, and yeah, that's really been working out for me. So I'll definitely say, you know, people having a curious mindset is very important.
That resonates with me. I agree.
So much.
Like
so
a million times.
Yes, a trillion times. 100%.
What about you, Zainab?
I would definitely say, yeah, don't be scared. Don't be scared to make mistakes, like you said. So like I said, I'm moving jobs now, and I've been with the company for 5 years. But I think it's been a really good, like, I've had a fantastic time at that company, but I think a lot of the time I was really scared to move. I got really comfortable with where I was working. I didn't know if I could move into another industry, but like now I'm ready. I want to face the fear, like, and see, all right, if it doesn't work out, I didn't die 5 years ago, you know, and on to the next one. And also being in a space where you're continuously learning, because what can happen is where you become so comfortable in a space, you just do, it's almost like you're just going through life just being like a robot. But if you're forced to learn and forced to be curious, then that's how you propel yourself into the next stages of your life, and really that will definitely take your career into a fantastic trajectory. So yeah, definitely that.
Wow, what a fantastic way to conclude the interview. Ladies, it's been an absolute honor to have you both here. It's just, it's been a fantastic conversation for me. I've taken so much out of it, and some things that I knew prior have been reinforced, and I'm sure that you guys watching have taken a lot out of it as well. So please make sure you put your comments in the comment section, hit the like and subscribe button, and and see you at the next interview. Thank you guys, bye.